What's up, guys? What is up? I'm not hearing it properly. It's not hearing for the properly. What's up, guys? It's Ricky here. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Please highlight if you can hear me, if the sound is properly doing the things. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about some things out there. And so there's this video that I saw and I was like, yeah. She's too much play this thing. And so it's the audio, we can hear you. Danke leadershiping. Danke kia leboha. Thank you very of the match. All right, so today we gotta have these conversations about things that are out there, living contradictions, things that are out there that are just out straight funny and weird. So Mpoomy Ledwaba is gonna be on a new TV show, and I thought this was just weird. Y'all tell me if it's just me. It just didn't sit properly. It didn't go down the hash properly. It was just a bit, what was that? And so wanted us to talk about it. Miriam is asking load shedding, I guess. No, leadership, as we don't get load shedding, because if the lights go off, we still have the power station, so we can continue running. Yeah, the lights are still going as usual, 3-4 times a day. Yeah, but it's not that bad. Tamara, what's up, dear? You Gucci. Wonderful seeing you. All right. And so this clip that I'm talking about of Madame Ledwaba and her hubby, for me it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. And so you guys tell me here, or Lebonang, what are you seeing here? All right, so, and then before we get to the other subjects or discussion that we might have. And so basically she's going to make an appearance, a TV appearance. And this TV appearance, remember, Madame Ledwaba, she's seen as a Christian content creator, right? Even when she does her podcast and stuff like that, that's the kind of like the theme that they are going for. And so this one, it's just a bit off. And so you might be wondering, what TV appearance are they going to be in and stuff? So let's go ahead. It's a bit tricky. Yeah, it's a bit, it's a bit it's a bit something, the discussion, very important, but then how you decide to get into the discussion, it's what's interesting. We're gonna give it 30 seconds, then we are starting with the video. How was your guys' Sabbath? I'm thinking of starting a new challenge this coming week. Actually this month I'm thinking of starting a new challenge to challenge myself into reading more. Just reading, not necessarily thinking, but just reading on the simple note. I'll tell you which one I'll decide on the dailies, and making a commitment on the daily. And on YouTube there's this thing called Vlogtober, so I'm thinking of doing a Vlogtober Bible study. Y'all tell me what you think about that one. Now, I think it won't be in particularly subject based. It will be just ordinary study, just Bible study. Yeah, I'll see. We'll see how it goes out. So let's bring this thing up here. All right, let's bring the stuff up. Let the leadership see these things with me. Tang le bone bana ba lena mo. Tang le bone bana ba lena mo. Bana, they are behaving. They are misbehaving. What is this? So this is the trailer. So this is a new show or something like that. And let's put that down. So this is a new show. It's out. So I guess they've shot it already. Okay. So what's left right now? It's for them to show it to us. So basically, they've shot this show and everything. Now, so we're gonna see it either ways. Okay, see, Peter, you won't hide it anymore. So let's play a piece of this. Tell me if you can hear the audio. Actually, let me stop sharing and make sure that it's sharing with audio. Let me make sure it's sharing with audio. Okay, I think it just does. Okay. Tell me if you can hear it. Yes, I'm exactly with you right now. You are seeing all kinds of worldliness, and you're wondering Christians are on this show. Yes, they are on this show. Holla back, please. Can you hear it? Can you hear it's airing tomorrow? Hey, leadership. Hey, Gigapila. I must get my passwords and everything in order. And so it's a bit much. Oh, yeah, you can hear the sound, ne? Okay, thank you, donkeys. Yeah, it's a bit much, I'm telling you. Leadership, if it's airing tomorrow, I will be there. I want to see what is the representation they've given us. I mean, like, hey, okay, let me hold myself. Let me hold myself. We can hear Donkey's leadership. All right. So this is back. Lebanon, watch the worldliness. Keep out. Do you see Mpoomy and her husband? They are there. They are the one sitting on the bedroom. What? And the show says it wants to talk about bedroom matters. And Kiba Obasalwan, they are the first ones in the, in the bedroom. Pillow talk. Our sex life is not very normal, says Latoya to her wife. Mm. Can you hear the language? Can you hear the language? What does what? So, how do Christians in this show navigate themselves? Oh, yeah, Kaibona, I'm seeing it now, Queen. It says airing on the 2nd, right at the top there of October. Hmm. Haibo, who's that? Wait, that guy looks like, what's his name? That one? He looks like the guy who's married to the Gokoma or anything. Maybe he's a different guy. I don't exactly know the guy. So the woman asked him what does what raises your blood pressure. He said no when you are okay. They are showing people in the bedroom. Christians agreed to be. Hey, why it's like hey. Okay, did I just see Tando and her husband? I'm hoping y'all didn't do no foolishness, Tando. I have much respect for you. As a matter of fact, one of the episodes I'm planning to do next week is the interview she did with Mpoomy Ledwaba. I hope her and her husband didn't get into any foolishness or any of this bedroom Christian portraying themselves in the bedroom. Ah. Yeah, that's that guy, man. Yeah, he's the one who's married to the Sangoma. What's her name? Coco Mawini there. So you can see the type of vibes that the show is giving. You see what's going on here. And bear in mind, when the cameras switch on, these people are in acting mode. So Christians are going to be in this show. Now, no, this is not like an acting show. No, it's meant to be like interview, documenting kind of a vibe. And so, what is Madame Ledwaba portraying themselves as a Christians on thingy doing in a show like that? And how do you even navigate that conversation? You see, it's for me, it really here, it's that let's not get this wrong. The conversation, if they're saying that they want to get into the conversation, saying that they want to get into a conversation about the bedroom matters. The conversation I do see, as I've illustrated before, we did an entire episode, if you can remember, on the subject of the bedroom respect when it comes to thinking. It after I had a conversation with a friend of mine who had recently gotten married. And so I was trying to get the man them, I was trying to talk to the brotherhood. Brotherhood were now, how far? Are you okay? Everything is Gucci. You are aware. The conversation was just friends talking about you are aware, right? And he was so dismissive. He was so dismissive. And so that actually led me to me making an episode talking about that. And I remember one of you guys actually in that video, I can't remember his name. He's a doctor, but he's on this channel. He says that he had patients who came to the hospital because they thought they needed medical help because the wife was overflowing in the bedroom. They didn't know it was normal. They thought it was a medical condition or something like that. And that was the conversation I was having with the brotherhood. Brotherhood, we were all over the place. We learned all kinds of things. Are you Gucci? So the brother was very dismissive. And so it led to me making the videos that you guys actually saw. The conversation, there's a place for it. But how you portray yourself in the middle of the conversation. What about the Mbatas? Yeah, the thing is, in the Mbatas, I'm not talking about the Mbatas because we don't see them like this one. You see? So that's why I'm saying maybe they had the conversation, which is pillow talk, not in the bedroom like these ones who are busy acting being in the bedroom. Okay? Maybe they didn't. So that's why I'm not addressing them. So until the episode ends, and then we know what exactly did they decide to go with. Because remember, you saw how everybody else is acting. They are there busy, mushing and doing what on camera. Barcelona, if you go online and you look at people that were questioning them, Mpoomy and thingy, there's even a video which they posted where they were busy acting, Mm-hmm. And so, okay, Queen is asking, the Christian can show, no, that's not the question. Bedroom matters. That's where the question is. This is not public affection. This has nothing to do with public affection. Okay. Otherwise, if we had a problem with public affection, then when people get married, there would not be you may now kiss the bride. There wouldn't be that moment. So it's not affection we have a problem. People also communicate love in different ways. Some people are very touchy. You go to those churches. There are those churches where you have husband, wife, those churches. Yeah. And you'll find you find people sitting like this in there. And so It's not public affection. That is the question. Is portraying or playing out of bedroom scenes? That's my question. The show, you see what the show is getting everybody else to do. Angry, you see them. Do you see what the show is making everybody else do? Is it gonna make the Christians, quotation marks, I don't know, yeah, to do this? Do you get what I'm asking? This show, you saw the other one, the Mrepa, the Mrepa there. You see them busy, touchy, and you heard the questions that are being asked. There is a limit to what we talk about. Like, there are things that I wouldn't joke about. You know? There are things I wouldn't joke about. And so, Christians allowing themselves into this particular scenes. That's why everybody else was kind of like having issues with Mpoomy Ledwaba on the show. And remember, Mpoomy had a friend by the name of Yours. They were both YouTubers, right? And she was in that relationship being very judgmental on how Yours' lifestyle is. Because Yours, I don't know if Yours is a Christian or whatnot. But she was imposing her beliefs on the other girl. And the other girl was like, hey, I'm not playing that game. So portraying that personality to other people, and then that's why people have an issue with her. It was like, how we see you as this person, and now you are appearing wanting to show yourself in this light. I mean, like, this show, did you see what they're making people do in the show? Six. Let's move back. There, people are being made to be mushing around. You see what's going on there? So now, are they the two of them already now? Because we already saw them there in the bedroom. They were the ones who were the opening scene there. What are they gonna be acting out? People have a very high standard for Christians. People have a very, very high standard for Christians. So when they see you, did you see that? Brotherhood is inside there. Is inside this one who's doing the boxing today. He's in the water. What are you doing in this kind of a show? The conversation is not the issue. Okay, let's go in with the conversation then. The conversation is important. The subject of family, Christian values, family values, sex and marriage, and financial management in the marriage. This conversation, which is what the video that I wanted to do about the Mbatas was on. It's about that. Them a little bit of financial thing that they went through and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And so the subject, the conversation aspect of the subject, very key. And in the Christian body, particularly where people, they come in the church and then they are being told to abandon their physical life or their thingy. People literally come from work, going to church. They don't even come from thingy to their household. So you end up with families that are very imbalanced in their relationships because the wife spends the entire day at church. You've seen marriages break down with the situations like what happened with Zondo, all these people that you heard giving testimonies. Because anytime your wife is called over to church, come to church now, haibo. And by that time, she's house duties matters. You know, it's that time at home. It's bedroom time. People are sleeping. The Lordship is busy calling. Hey, we are praying. What does your praying have to do with thinking? And so it's that balance especially when you speak to people that come from that area, where they've seen those extremes, where people have no life outside of their church life. If you listen to the video that I made talking about Tommy, the guy from Scone, who was calling what's his name? Chris. Was it Chris? No. The other gentleman. Wise man. The other gentleman from France. Was he from France? Who married the Caucasian lady? Yeah. When he got married, the disciples from Scone were saying he shouldn't let his marriage take him away from Scone. Do you see what I'm talking about? This person has spent over 20 years in the church. It's not enough. Your life is in church. There's no other life. I gave you guys an example of a similar nature. I went to this church, and this pastor wanted me to be a cameraman for their church and an editor for their church. Not on salary. But me, I was supposed to be there busy editing videos from Sunday, 3 services. Is it 3 services? Yeah, 3 services. And then also prayer meeting on Wednesday and Friday meeting for the youth. I was supposed to be busy editing all these things. He didn't see an individual life from me. He just saw me and I was like, oh, what? I'm not that kind. Brotherhood. You want to do that? Assign someone else, not me. I left. Yeah, I know, with my head up high. Hey, he was not happy with me. He was not happy. Because for him, he can go out, he has businesses, the pastor I'm talking about. He has businesses, he has what. But he felt like I should just be an editor for the church. And I said, no. Oh, I'm not. I have my own things. I have my own goals. Let me go fulfill my goals. And so there is these things where people don't know the limits where church life and thinking. And so the conversation is very important. All these conversations, sex life, finances in the church, finances within the family, and also a balanced life at that. You are at morning prayer. You are at evening prayer. When do you cook at home? When do you get time to spend with the family? And spending time with the family is not necessarily where you are going out, you're doing what? People are sitting watching TV, you are there, just being there. There are people, Muna, you don't even see them until they. My sister, one of my sisters was like that at one point. She would wake up early in the morning, 8 o'clock, they were in church. Zuri, she comes back. In the afternoon, they're going for practice. So I went home and I saw her doing all this up and down, and I was like, Hela, what are you doing? Can you have a life outside? Because your entire life is just you going to church. She was not happy with that, with what I was saying. It was me and my other sister and a cousin. She was not happy. But it took her almost about a year for her to see what we were saying. We told her that one day, we left her to it. She stayed and she kept going every morning, every afternoon. She comes back running. She's having issues with my granny because she's not cooking. She's not doing what, So people abandon their normal everyday life to do things. So to teach balance is very important. And again, a lot of Bazalwani, you see, this is where now it's important. A lot of Bazalwani don't know. They don't know when the conversation starts and when the conversation is important. A lot of Bazalwani. Like if you were to just say sex life in marriage, hey, it's like you call the devil during prayer. You said in the name of diabology, it's like you said that. It's part of our when in marriage, that conversation is part of our. I have friends we talk to, and we talk to about that. And the one thing that continues, they will keep asking, brother, when are you getting married? This one, when are you getting married? Our friends, they're constantly asking that. The other one will ask the other one, and 3 of the brothers are married already. So there's 5 of us. So the other one is finishing Lobola December. and then now there will be two of us. You see that? And so that's the conversation. That's where we are going. And as we go towards that, the discussion is balance, whether it be financial balance or church balance, ministry, business, what. That's the discussion we have every single day. That balance is needed. So this show, as Christians, the conversation is important because they seem to be focusing on Christian individual couples sex life. That's what they're focusing it on. Now, this acting part here, where they are now getting mushy in front of the camera. Guys, do you remember Preachers of LA? You remember Preachers of LA? There's a pastor there. This one, Wayne. Okay. Now I want to show you something. Okay. I want to show you something so that you can see. Yes, you see what I'm typing. Okay. Do you see that? Wayne got divorced early this year. Okay, we got divorced of Antioch Church. He was on Preachers of LA, and out of all the pastors on Preachers of LA, if you remember this TV show, okay, out of all the pastors, Wade and his wife, they used to do all these things that you see the Ledwabas do. They used to do all these things of being mushy, doing what, and all that kind of jazz. And the article is not opening. The weights. Let me open a different site. Let's see. Does this one open? Let's see if it opens here. Okay, it's not available. Hi man, do you guys remember Wade? This guy. Let me just click the picture. You can go and look up the story when you have time. Hibo. It doesn't want to open at all. Okay. Let me open it like this. Maybe it will show the statement. So that was him. Him and his wife. If you go to Wade and you look up his time when he was on Preachers of LA, let's hope that there's a trailer so I can show you. I didn't actually think of it. I would have prepared a clip on the side. Preachers of LA. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, let's hope that they don't. I'm not gonna play it. I think it was by Oxygen. Hi, Oxygen. Yeah, it's Oxygen. They won't film it. They'll copy my video out and stuff like that. Yeah, wait. This was him. Him and his wife there. This is not his wife. I think this was a different situation. I'm hoping that they will show that part that I'm like how these guys were. They'll be showing themselves in very weird clothing, like bedroom clothing. Not weird as in thingy. You can see 4 months ago they got divorced. It wasn't this one. But if you go back and you can find and you find clips of them while they were on the thing, when on the show. I remember it was one of the first episodes on the show, and Wade and his wife, they would show themselves anyhow, just in the bedroom. They were busy mushing around. Okay, and now when are you getting married? Leadership. Very, very soon. Don't know. I'll call you there. I'm getting married. Everybody must bring their own lunch box. I'll provide you guys with water. Yeah, my wedding will be very cheap. I'm not playing. I'm not playing pocket change. Yeah, very soon leadership. Me, I'm going there. Yeah, so the conversation they are having in the show is very important, definitely. But portraying yourself like this, which is what everybody had an issue with them particularly, knowing very well, Mpoomy, very judgmental towards other people. But she always shows herself to be sometimes a bit carnal. Actually, somebody even said it in the comment section here. He says, Mpumi is lukewarm. Yes, she is gifted, but she is not using it for God's purpose, and mainly, and that again, which is why she can't be authentic again. You know, you can't fake. You can't fake intentions. Yeah, when it comes off very easily, you know. And yeah, you only see the interviews, you see whatnot, you don't consider that this person isn't. But people who have been close to her, they move away very quickly. That's important. I once made an episode where we were talking about her doctrinal beliefs, you know, where she believes a mixture of obusangoma. What kind of a Christian believes that? You need to question yourself. And she was like, oh, you know, just go watch the video. You can go watch the video and you'll see. Her lukewarmness, or her lukewarm, if lukewarmness is a word, it can see it here. That's why they can go on a TV show and portray themselves like this. I think something that Christians have to accept is that we have a very high standard. We have a very high standard in society. That's why he says, give you an example of a Bible verse that talks about that. He says, he that is doing a building, does he not count the cost? So you see that verse is actually talking about this. Count the cost of what it means. Like, for instance, I'll give you another example. I was called to this other TV show. Let's not talk about which one it is exactly until we see if I'll agree to go. I was called to come to this TV show, but they were going to have people that I didn't agree with. They thought it would make for good television to have us just going to and fro. I said, no. I'm not interested in that part of the discussion. Why? Because already I know there's no productivity that comes from that. Standards. So straightforward. You can have the conversation with that particular person. I'm not coming because you have these people there. Okay? I'll come when you have a different one. If you decide to, then they called me again when they had another one, and it was the same. I said, no, we're not coming because of this. Fix that. How you see me in the public, I'm not going to be on television for the first time and I'm misrepresented because I'm there sitting with people that are, you understand? And so, how there is a very high standard for us. So the verse that I was talking about, does he not count the cost? What is the counting the cost all about? Counting the cost, it means when you, that's why he says, because will they not laugh at you once you have started a building project after not calculating what it will cost you, and then you are not capable to finish it? So what is that? Discipleship. He says, will it not look funny when you're out there claiming I am a believer, I'm a Christian, and then people see you portraying yourself in bedroom matters and in this type of a show, basically? Count the cost. What does this portray? Have the conversation. She has a very big platform. She can have the conversation about sex and marriage, and all that kind of stuff. But then, does she have to go to these worldly standards in order to do so? Let me see what y'all guys are saying. For me, no. Have the conversation. It's very important. Some people still yet need to learn having the conversation. Yeah, many bazalwanis, they abandon their physical life. Which is why even Paul Paul had to write a verse. There's a verse. Paul had to write a verse. He said, some of you are overly spiritual. You'll be out there claiming to be fasting. He says, when you are done fasting, please finish, so that you can go back into your marital what, so that the devil does not tempt you. So what is Paul talking about? He's talking about the bedroom matter there. And he's talking about opening a door of temptation in that area. Tend to your physical duties. He even goes to the extent of saying the man's body is not his own, the woman's body is his own. We are ours. Your body, we are ours. When he says you are one, that's what he means. We are ours. That's a conversation by itself. Paul highlights it there to the length of his communication. Right? He explains it there in the point. And remember, when the Bible says flee youthful lust and also foolish conversations, you see that? So I'm not gonna be on television busy talking about getting into a bed and then I'm busy mushy. Want to have a conversation? Let's sit down and have the conversation. We talk. Fine. But to be on a TV show where it's gonna portray you like this, wait, look at the kind of people that are there. Look, this one had to even ask, is my mother going to watch this? Because of how he said, are my parents going to watch this? Look at the kind of things that are being displayed there. People are there busy in bedroom matters. So how far did the rest of them, Baling Bazalani, who were on the show, having to be asked to go? Because you see, this is the thing. Let me tell you why I don't go to a club to listen to music, or why I don't attend music festival, this, that. Because if they play Jerusalem there, if they play Jerusalem, maybe by, what is his name? Master KG or whatever. To me, that song means something else. Right? Because me, I'm thinking about the literal Jerusalem, the promise of the believers. Now, the unbeliever there, it doesn't mean anything. It just means it's a nice song. If they were to play, what's her name, that lady? What's the name of that lady, guys? The lady that sang Yahweh. I forgot the name of the lady. She's a South African. Yeah, this one. Mpoomy, this song. If I was to listen to this song and an unbeliever was there, that name means something else to me than what it means to an unbeliever. Because me, I'm addressing, I know who I'm addressing. But an unbeliever doesn't know what this song is addressing. So you see, lest I deceive the unbeliever that I am talking about the same Yahweh that he is talking about, I am not going to give them that. I'm not going to be in the same place talking about Yahweh with you who doesn't know who Yahweh is. Because that song to me says Mpoomy knows. And the one who's singing it, does he know? No, he wouldn't be singing it in the environment where he's singing it. See that? So the song, I can't sing that. So I can't come to a club where you're going to be singing that song, lest you misunderstand that me and you are talking about the same Yahweh. Why? We have a very high standard. And in Tweya or Bazalani, they don't want the high standard credited to them. She's not very much thingy. And so this here it gives you an example of what I'm saying, particularly about this type of a show. Bazalani, look at this show. Look at the kind of things that they are displaying, the kind of foolish conversations. Like, these conversations are not conversations of, as I stated, the talk and the subject matter, very important. But then in this setting, I don't know. In this setting, no. Busy rub on TV. There, people are in the bath thinking, believer, Christian is inside there. I know, please, let's stop playing games. Please go watch the videos of Wade and his wife when they were on Preachers of LA. You will see what I'm talking about. They were there being provocative, wanting to provoke everybody, doing all kinds of things, talking about Christians, sexy Christians. They're talking about these conversations. You need to have that conversation there before the world, because it means something else to the unbeliever. But anyways, we approach this subject differently. But we mustn't shy away from the subject, because the subject is really there. We want to talk about, because I'll give you another example. While they are there on the TV show, right? An unbeliever comes there, Tira or something like that. Somebody comes there who's an unbeliever. His standard on sex in marriage is different to you who's a believer. His standards are very different. So on what plane are you guys talking? Thing says to me, it's not about public affection, but the producer's intention. Hey, leadership, you nailed it. That's exactly the issue. And especially with this television show, they'll say, no, give us some more, Nyana. You don't know these shows. Leaderships. Let me pin the comment. Let me pin the call-in link. Hey, leadership, you just nailed it there. Call-in link. That's the leadership. You just nailed it. You nailed it there. You nailed it. That's the problem. The problem is that directors know what sells. They know sex sells. They know this public site. And on top of that, you have Christians willing to do that. They know it sells. Let me go into pin this comment. It's an advert. Let me just skip that. Make sure the visuals are proper there. Aibo. No. Sorry, let me pin the comment. Ne? And so the subject is important. No? We're not dismissing the subject. No. The subject is important. But Christians must have that conversation in an area where you have that conversation in an area where it tells everybody who you are. I'm not having that conversation in a place where the environment is tainted with worldliness. Because when I'm intending to bring godliness in that picture, it may not be heard. The same way I was giving the example about going to a club or something like that. Once you are there and you play a certain song, to me it means something. All right, let me pin this comment. Tommy, did you pin the comment? Thank you. All right, it's pinned, right? Yeah, I think the comment is pinned. So, lest a person who's an unbeliever misunderstands me or misunderstands my intention to make them aware of the conversation of sex in marriage in the right context, I am not going to be having that conversation there. As we spoke about fling foolish conversations, certain places where I'm just not going to be seen. And in certain lights, I'm just not going to be seen. And so that's the conversation that people need to have. It's very important to have the conversation about sex and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. Because also, there's all these things about the language of love for different people and stuff like that. And so I think the comment is pinned. We'll get into that. What? And so leadership, what you just said here is very key. Hashem. It's very key. These people, they have ideas. You see, they have their own ideas, and those ideas, they are thinking to themselves, this makes good TV. They don't care that it's not it's not up to the standard. It's not up to your moral standards. Remember the song. I'll give you another example. Remember the song that Mukobstata made. Dumisan Mukobstat, I think that's his name. When he made with Black Diamond, Messiah, Muhau, Messiah, what. Remember that song? When he made that song, if you go and watch the video of that song, you will notice something. Mukobstata might associate himself with the Pentecostal Christians. But did you see an image of a Pentecostal Christian in the video? Nope. You saw them display Shembe? Oh, no, let me just show you. Let me show you. Let me show you that the presentation of what Lucky is saying here, it's such a crucial one, right? What's the name? Black Diamond. Black Diamond. Messiah. Okay. I want you to see, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to just browse through the clips and I'll show you something in the video. All right. Yeah. If you check this video, you can see it, ne? Okay. I want you to see what thing is saying here, what Lucky is saying, and how you can evaluate this subject here. Notice what appears in this video. So in the song, they put, you know, Mazayoni there. If Mazayoni is a good doctrine, I'll probably be a Zion myself. I really like their music. It's straightforward. So they have Zionis and what? And then, remember, and you see all these garment churches and uniforms and whatnot. There, they are portraying them again. Okay. Garment churches with cloths on the wall. Okay. And then they had Shembe guys. They do show them again right there. They are the guys from Shembe, where their leader from KZN is believed to be Jesus, the way, basically. That's what they believe. So you have Zionis, you have Shembe. You move forward, you can see the gentlemen there from Shembe, the ladies from Shembe. Okay. And then you have, again, Shembe guys. Okay. Yeah, they are the Shembe guys. Okay, then remember Black Diamond are worldly musicians, so they go to the club. Okay, so you have club, you have Zioni, you have thingy. Okay, and in what place do they present Mukobstat? In the club setting. Okay, in the entire video, I didn't see them presenting his version of Christianity. That's the point I wanted to point out. They didn't show his version of Christianity, which is what? Pentecostal. He's singing along with us. He's singing with us, but his version of Christianity was not shown in the song singing about Mohadi Messiah. Tela Moya. Yeah, the song is very nice. But look at how the world portrays your belief system, to a point where they didn't even show his belief system. Did you guys notice that one? When I saw the video when it came out, I was like, shit. You know, so they have their own idea of what they think belief system is. They're going to portray that, and it just ends there. And so, yeah, liberal Christianity thing it says, I started making people live a lie. No, but we live. The thing is, we haven't portrayed the honesty aspect of it. You know, to portray the honesty, that's where it comes in. Let people get used to what it means being a Christian. You know, but then whenever we are presented with the high standard, we are afraid and we run to, you know, not everybody's perfect. Present the true standard. But then whenever we are presented with high standards, we pull back, we get afraid because I might fall short. Yeah, I fall short, but the standard remains high. And so you can make a judgment on me, Ricky, on that basis of that standard. The standard still stands. That's why when we make error, people say, nah, I will never go to church with all these bazalwanis. Why? Because they are using you as the standard. We haven't pointed to them. You know what? I'm a person in a journey. The standard is this. And I'm living towards that standard. We've been doing it all wrong. We keep showing people perfect images of pictures when we are holding hands. Like the Bushiris and them thingy. You'll never see them taking an average picture. No. You'll only have them taking pictures while they are modeling. Those two are modelers. Bushiri and his wife, they model those ones. They don't play. They model. Every time they're always holding hands. Always they're always holding. That's a sign of a broken up couple. Because it's all acting. Give the standard, the true standard. Let people see the true standard. At the end of the day, you refer people to the truth and you tell them this is the standard towards which I live. Don't be afraid that people are going to judge you back with the standard. Me, my friends they were very fun. They would do all kinds of things. I told you guys, when I was still doing video work and stuff like that, whenever we would travel, my friends used to like picking up girls in different places. We'll go here, they'll be picking up a girl. This one, you go here, he picks up a girl. And then when we arrive to that certain location, I'll tell them, please, let's do me a favor. Drop me at the place where we are sleeping. Go do your up and downs. I don't want to vex for you. You want to go do your things? I say, no, don't worry. I say, hey, let's not have. So you see, they can't come to me with that life. They can't. They can't come to me with that life. Because they know the standard is here. Even though they might know Ricky has errors here and there, but they know the standard. Do you see that? And so because I've set that standard, they will never call me and say, hey, we are going to a party. No. Under what context do they call me for a party? Because I've told them the standard to which I live towards. They know errors, they know Ricky's errors and whatnot, but they see the standard. So the problem, you see, the living fake, Queen, the living fake is that you don't present the standard. Present the standard. I live towards this standard, and I'm living towards that. They can't pass you. Why? They can't pass you. They can't pass you beer there. Let's say maybe you used to drink. They say, man, taste. Boom, you are there. Especially with unbelievers. If you're a drinker, let's drink at home. Not with them. Why? Because it means something else. It associates them to their filth. That's why he says, for the sake of the brother who is weak, he says, when you go to an event and they give you food offered unto idols, he says, for the sake of the weaker brother, don't take it. So it's not just me living for my sake. There's a standard to which I live. I live to a higher standard. So you call me out on the basis of the standard, right? And when you call me out on the standard, okay, I see you. Thank you for calling me out so that I am not being hypocritical in that area. Yes, Tamara says, lucky people practice polygamy and all other sinful stuff. Yeah, and they mix those things. They mix those things and they make you associate yourself with that. So you have to make it clear to them, Ricky. What if they are trying to share a Christian's perspective of love and intimacy, but not by acting leadership? The issue here is the acting. You see, people here on the show are acting romance on TV. I don't know what your standards are on that one, on this type of a thing. Like, for instance, I've said this before. Me personally, I can't date an actor. Me. But if you ever, no judgment at all. For me, I can't date an actor. You kiss me and then you go kiss someone on TV. I know. What are we doing here? No. We don't play those games. No. Me, personally, we're not doing that one. That's me. Yeah? Yes. And so, look at them. They are busy. People on the TV show, they are busy. They're doing what in the bathroom. People are in the bedroom. The conversation. Remember, the conversation of Christian affection is important. But does this platform embody that? And like Lucky said, the producers have an idea also. No, also if you can just lean in Nyana, the producers, very funny people, those ones. So just lean in a little bit. No, please show a little bit of Iliteka more. Before you know it, you are showing Iliteka Nyana. You put cameras in very funny places. And so it's this portrayal here. Are they okay with being portrayed in the bedroom scenario? And seeing how far other people are going on the show, will they just say, oh, okay, just sit there drinking wine? I don't know. We might differ at how we come at this subject. We might differ at it. And when I also said, good evening, everyone. Leadershipings, how are you? And let me not stay behind on the comments. Good evening, leadership. We'll bring our lunch box. You bring lunchbox leadership. My waiting. Lunchbox. I'll tell you what kind of foods are not allowed. Anything with egg. You don't want mistakes. Egg plus, also if you put eggs inside a container, it brings out, it has that smell. Just, no. So, no eggs, don't worry, I'll tell you what's on the menu. What should be in your scarf tin, so that when we take pictures, our plates look the same. I'll provide you with the plastic ones. You see those ones that they give you when you go to the funerals in Komagayeng. As says, good evening, Bazalwani. Good evening, leadership. The problem comes when we start thinking that as Christians have to loosen up, and after that we just think, hey, leadership. We don't know where to draw the line. Leadership, that's exactly what we say. Once you sit on the bedroom, once you sit in the bedroom as a Christian couple on a show where other people are busy mushing and doing what, where do you draw the line? Because you've already shown that you are willing to compromise on how you're going to be seen out there. Yeah, and the idea, that the point of saying, loosen up, chill, relax. They have lured you in. Carnality steps in. Hey, Bible. Or carnality, and so it's a very good conversation. Bear in mind, we're not dismissing the subject. Okay, we're not dismissing the subject of sex in marriage. That's a very good conversation to have. As a matter of fact, I am a very huge advocate for that one. And I've explained, and I'll go back there. Let me just delve in there for 2 minutes. I won't spend too much time on that. There are brotherhoods who came into church. They were born in church. They grew up in church. So they have not been around. And so they, as a brother, I'm going to talk for the brotherhoods, not for the sisterhoods. So as a brotherhood, you hear all these conversations that go on in the world. Does size matter? You hear all these conversations. Those things hit at your self-esteem. And then now you can justify all kinds of shenanigans because you are trying to justify if size matters with that particular person that you want to be with. Right? You can justify that conversation. But having a healthy conversation about that can help a person dismiss those areas of curiosity. It's the areas of curiosity. I can tell you this. Me, my first time, hey, are we going there? My first time breaking my virginity, I was very much ashamed of it. Because I had stayed all these years. And when I came from that person's house, I was very much ashamed of it. I was like, what was the point of it? What was the point of it? I should have just stayed. I should have just stayed, because you have so much, there's all these curiosities and what. Because I used to have a Christian girlfriend back in secondary. I almost said primary. In secondary. And so she was a no-go person. And I was not a Christian anyway, so it was like, whatever. But the curiosity of my friends and what brought in the question, and I brought it to my girlfriend, and she said, not necessary. So because my girlfriend was saying not necessary, we lived like that. But curiosity built and it killed the cat. But the curiosity, once I had quenched the curiosity, I was like, this was not necessary. The information thing. So Angry, we are hearing all these things. Does size matter? What? You meet all these people. Now I was a house party person. House party person. We used to go to these parties where people are sleeping here. You know those parties. Those things are very real, by the way. In Yeovil, those things were very real. You used to sleep like this. And there will be a person here doing their own things. You are here. You are very sober that day. But when they are finished, dead. So it built the curiosities. But once that curiosity was quenched, I was like, that was not necessary to have crossed. Information emboldens us to go into these things, into the purity that we are looking forward towards. And so because we allow curiosity to just build, and you are telling a person there's something called cognitive what do they call it? Cognitive dissonance. I think that's what they call it. Is this word where you are thinking one thing, but you're believing another thing, or you're doing the other thing. So there's an area where you're telling yourself, I'm gonna do this, but you end up doing the other. So it causes this disagreement inside of you. And so people are having those thoughts, they are battling those thoughts. And what do you use to quench them? Man, don't be carnal. You just dismiss the subject. And they are thinking about what does size matter? But if you address the whole sexual subject, school sex. I don't know when do you have that conversation, for me, to be honest with you. I don't know. I had that conversation with one of my friends, as I stated. I think it was last year. Was it this year? Did I move into the studio this year? Yeah, I moved into the studio this year. He got married last year, November. So I started asking him about that. Are you okay? You good? What do you know? This was the core of the discussion. My friend was very nervous and he was trying to hide. And I said, Mcha, we are talking about this. We are talking about this. You will not frustrate your wife. And he was not very comfortable about that. But I had to ask him, do you know the woman's body structure? Do you understand it? And you understand all of that stuff. And also, his father had passed away. I didn't know who. Did anybody tell him? I don't know. Nowadays, when you get married, they don't give you that counseling and whatnot. Especially families used to do that. Nowadays, if you are talking about that in the church or church counseling, they'll tell you, when you have a problem, come to church. But then, which conversations are you having by yourselves at home? And so I asked him about that, and he was very blank, but he was very arrogant because he was married and I wasn't. You see where the problem comes? So I had to give him the download to say, don't be arrogant about this subject. You'll frustrate your wife. Okay. And also, there was a lady we used to know in high school. She got divorced because she got divorced because the husband didn't understand the woman's language of love. There are people whom, if you say something, it's enough. There are people whom, if you say something without having communicated it physically, it leaves a thing. They call it a language of love. You can look up online. There was a Christian channel that used to talk about it. They're from Pretoria. I can't remember their name, unfortunately. I would have referred you to them because they talk about it in a very, very godly manner. They talk about the language of love in a relationship. Yeah. There are people that you greet them. If you greet them, hello, how are you? It's not enough. You have to greet them and kiss them. That's their language. They communicate. It must be communicated to them. How far do you ask? And also, again, I also asked another question again. How do you know your wife knows? You see, like when you get into, if you search the channel and you search the sex videos that I made 2 videos. I thought that was enough. That was explicit enough. Okay. Then I shied. I went back into my shell. I said, hey, Oskantabu. And so, yeah, but those conversations, guys, to be honest with you, personally, have those conversations. Especially, it helps people communicate their physical relationships properly. There are people that don't know anything, and most of them are arrogant and they don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. They absolutely know nothing. That my friend was thinking because he's married, he has a better understanding of the physical aspect of his relationship with his wife. And I had to tell him, don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Like, for instance, I'll give you another example of high standards. There's a reason why society has such a high standard for women. There's a reason why society has such a high standard for women. And the reason is that the woman intakes. The man gives out, but the woman intakes. And so going through all these experiences and all this intake, it leaves a mark. For a man, it leaves a mark for preference. That's why it leaves a mark for preference, né? That's why you will hear that when you hear marriages about, like, for example, we see now we have entered the adult section. PG, don't watch this video part. Don't watch this video part with kids next to you. If I don't know. Maybe we should leave it there. But this subject will definitely. I'll give you an example. Yeah, Chris Rock got divorced. Okay, we're talking about the damage that can happen to things. Chris Rock got addicted to pornography, but he became more. He started watching the more violent type, the more hectic type, like, to a point where it changed his preferences. And so his the things that raised his blood temperatures were the hectic stuff. Now, when he went back into his home, because the preference had changed, the average conversation on the pillow was not enough. And it completely destroyed the brotherhood's marriage, because he was struggling to raise the blood temperatures, you understand. He was struggling to raise the blood temperatures because the hectic, his wife is not going to be doing none of that stuff that he's watching on the internet. And so that stuff was damaging because his preferences was raised so high. It wasn't just the normal everyday. He needed counseling. He did an entire joking thing. I can't remember the name of the comedy show. After his divorce, he did it with Netflix. The one he did with Netflix, yes. He talks about it in there, about the damage that pornography did because the preference raised and was all the way through the roof. And so now, if you think about that, the experiences people go out and they have and all these things, it raises your expectations or your preference, so to put it, to a point where the average simple is just not enough. So the experiences that people out there they get themselves into can be extremely damaging to a point where by the time when you get into a relationship, like for instance, you'll see you get into a relationship and you find the woman puts the responsibility of her happiness on the man. Brotherhood. Yes, she puts the responsibility on the man. And so she puts the responsibility of her happiness in bed to the man. And then, because she can't communicate, because she just associates, the man must know. This is the thing that I was talking to my friend about. Because she just associates the man must know, what ends up happening is that she can't communicate when the man doesn't know. Why? She's gone through the experiences and she doesn't know. You know, you have a child who's asking for a sweet when they don't know what sweet exactly they're asking for. Yes, that's another experience. The other part of the experience that you get out there is that people have experiences of whatever, and so they can't communicate it once they are now in the relationship. And also, people become very secretive about experiences. Personally, if I get into a relationship, the other person should have a knowledge of my vulnerabilities and all those things so that they can protect me against that. Do you get me? Yes. I am a strong believer in that marriage structure being the security of everything. And so we communicated with the brotherhood about that to say, but does your wife know? When your wife, when you guys are playing chess, me, I play tango, guys. When you guys are playing chess, does your wife know how to communicate what chess moves are being played? Does she know to say, yes, the body is satisfied? And if you are not capable of getting that information out of her, bear in mind that she might actually associate that you are supposed to know. And if you don't know, it creates a problem. So communicate in that space. And so the brother man went silent. The brotherhood went silent. That's when his arrogance about him knowing just went dead silent at that point. And so those things, to be honest with you, it was a heartbreaking conversation. It was a heartbreaking conversation to have with him because I saw the unwillingness of our holy brothers who do not want to know what they don't know. There are people you can't have a conversation about this stuff with. If you want to have the conversation about sex and marriage, do it within the right setting. I'm not doing that on television with worldly people who are promiscuous. They do all kinds of rubbish, ungodly, all kinds of things. I'm not doing it on television. Why? Because there is a godly sense that I have in approach when it comes to that. And another thing, which is another video that I wanted to make, but I'm still thinking about the structure of the video. Sometimes it takes me weeks to think of a video thing. I wanted to talk about the difference between men cheating and women cheating. I'm going to focus more on the men cheating because I know that one. The women cheating, I might just thinking, like, why the moment you do that, you should see the difference between what it's like for a man to do that and what it's like for the woman to do that. Because women respond with emotion. Because women respond in emotion. Once you leave that space, don't expect the woman not to bring her emotions. Even if she says she's not going to bring her emotions. Because Ali Tomo cheater, when you start cheating, that's what happens. She says, no, me, you are married, you are fine, okay. But the moment anything happens, any bonding happens between you and that woman, that line breaks. Because she will carry, she will. It's not a matter of thinking, no, will. It will happen. For a woman, it might be different. But for a man, understand the responsibility you have, not just to your wife, but to that other woman. Is that she will carry her emotions and bring them in. At or much, it will just be fun and games. But then after that, it's no longer fun and games. The emotions will come into it. And that's where there's a friend of mine, he sent me a message. I think it was a while ago. It's a very sad message. It was a man that I used to look up to. And this friend of mine was telling me, hey, Ricky, do you know that guy passed away? And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean he passed away? Basically, there was this pastor that I used to know, Washington. This guy is from Zim. This guy. Now, this was a pastor. This guy was a pastor. He was married and he had kids with this woman and everything. And he got a side woman, a woman on the side. And he was now devoting himself towards that woman. And he wanted to go back. At one point, he wanted to go back to his wife. And that woman, remember, they carry the emotion. That woman said, you're not doing that. She poisoned him. So he passed away. So this brotherhood sent me this message and he was telling me about it. Then he was saying, hey man, remember the guy, the pastor we used to buy Bibles from? Yeah, he passed away. He was poisoned by this lady. Yeah, they carry their emotions into it. And so you don't break. For a man, if there's any reasons why not to do it, is that woman you are busy doobie-doobie with, she will carry her emotions, she will bring it into it, and you cannot expect her not to have her emotions into it. It's a different ballgame, because that's how a woman responds into thinking. They are more attached to the emotions, so they communicate from there into, he passed away, she poisoned him. And she poisoned him and she ran away. And so she wasn't arrested. I don't know if she ended up being arrested. That was in 2021 or so. And so it creates a different thing, all these experiences that people go out there to get outside without keeping it within the family's thinking. So the conversation of sex in marriage, such a very huge conversation. A lot of people very uncomfortable with having the conversation. Some people, they couldn't care for it. Some people feel like they are bulletproof. Some, like I said, I was hoping to see him here, but I can't see him at the moment. The doctor who said he had a couple that came in, and when the couple that came in, it was because she overflows during their chess games. When they're playing the chess games, the woman overflows. So they thought she was sick. They didn't know it was normal. They didn't know it was normal. And so the doctor had to explain to them, no, what you are finding or what you're experiencing is a normal thing. It's just that it's not something that all women experience. Some women have it, some women have it very lightly, some have it at an extreme. The whole thing, you call it an orgasm or whatever. No. They didn't know. Christian couple. They were in there, married in church. They had never been out. And so because they are not educated in that space, they thought she was sick. They thought the woman was sick. They went to the hospital. Tato says checkmate. Yeah, when they're playing their chess games, checkmate leadership. And so why? Because they didn't know it was normal. It's just that in that entire thing, or their perception of these things, this was wrong. So she needed medical help. The doctor had to sit them down. I was hoping he's here today, because in that video that we spoke about, in that video, let me see if I can find it. In that video where we highlighted it, this subject came up. I can't remember which one it was. If you haven't seen the video, yeah, that's one. I can't remember. Yeah, this video was very vivid, Bazalani. Will I do a video like that? No. This video took me a week for me to really convince myself to doing it. And so why women must communicate about sex to their husbands. Your husband doesn't know. And so it was this conversation, this video was very hectic. Let me see if I can find the comment that I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find the comment that I'm talking about. And you see, also Brother Kumbelo then came in and he explained this particular part also. And he speaks about that exactly, to say this word, particularly the idea of knowing, it actually speaks of knowing how to deal with with all these things. Let me see if I can find him. Let me see if I can find that video. Teddy says, I have tons of respect for your leadership, your bravery to dealing with this subject. Hey, this subject leadership, because they can't determine. There it is. This one. There it is. Vosmos. Okay, I was hoping that I was going to find the comment. I found it. He says, last comment on this. In 2013, a lady came to our practice seeking treatment because she was wetting herself during sex, and only to find out that she was not sick, but on fire due to the body. So they thought it was wrong. They thought it was just thinking. So for those that might have thought I was making the comment up, there is the comment. Okay, so a Christian brotherhood and a mother, they went to the thing because they thought the woman was bewitched. They went to seek treatment. So we need to have the conversation in our space as Christians, in the right places, not this television stuff that they're doing over there on Mzansi Magic, because that conversation comes out filthy. It doesn't come out clean. The directors want to influence it with whatever and all that kind of jazz. We don't need that. Okay, but again, I think as we state again, this conversation needs people to get used to. I mean, like it's like, for instance, the curiosities that I was talking about earlier on. If you check in this video, yeah, this video became very graphic very quickly. Why women should communicate. Okay, so right here, I explained that idea, or why, like for instance, when you talk about their size matter and whatnot. In this video, I explained why it doesn't matter. Okay, I spoke about why it doesn't matter. But the curiosities and the fears and whatnot can keep us in fear of approaching the subject. But because people are not educated, you have the world dictating for us that size matters. And we're like, no, God didn't make us like that. God made us in a way that it shouldn't matter. And from a man's perspective, reaching satisfaction, very easy. It's sensation on the skin. That's it. But for a woman, she is made differently. She's made with, at least a woman can have, a man only has one area of reaching this place of joy, as you might call it. Yeah, it's just that sensation around the skin. That's it. But for a woman, is many different ones. And I think, if I can remember well, I think it's 4 different places of joy for a woman, particularly during the sexual experience. 4. And we highlighted it. I highlighted it in this video. I don't have to repeat that information. We are live. Okay? And so the whole thing, the woman's body is a very complicated structure. It's not like man. Man is just straightforward. A woman's body is very, very complex. And so size doesn't matter, because you'll ask yourself, why is it that there is an area of jaw right at the peak of their vaginal lips, right at the top. And so this video explains why that doesn't matter, but the world has dictated to us that it matters. Those are the conversation, the conversation within our godly spaces we can have. You don't need to have that conversation on a public space like television. Being told to take off your clothes, what does it do for the conversation that they're sitting in bed? What I've said here might be better than whatever information they're going to communicate there. So the conversation could be in the right place. They don't need to portray themselves in bed. But the world, we keep allowing the world to dictate what information. We keep dictating. We keep having the word dictate to us what information we should talk about. And then, like, for instance, you'll then have the worldly ones, or the ones who are afraid of these conversations. And so when a subject like this comes up, the immediate thing to do is to shut down. They shut down. They don't know how to communicate the subject. To them, everything is unholy. There is such a thing as a marriage in a holy, okay, and sex in a holy space. But they don't know how to communicate that. It's there, but how do you communicate that? They don't know. Do they have an answer? They don't. And they will restrict you to the core, because they don't know how to communicate it. You don't need to portray yourself like that. If you want to communicate a healthy sexual relationship in marriage, you can do so without getting into the bedroom. I don't have to wear pajamas and be in bed in order to communicate that Christians can be sexually excited, basically. I don't need to do that. It's just not, but because we allow the world to dictate the conversation and listen to the conversation they have, it's silly things, stupid things. You have all this bunch of prostitutes, all these influencers out there having sex with every man who has money for them. You have them dictating now what a man is. But the church constantly is moving away. When you call them out on certain things, on Christian coming online and whatnot, they look at you like a weird person. They look at you like a weird person. I remember a pastor called me because that video that I showed you earlier on, the video that I showed you, this one, why women should communicate. I told you that I made this video right after a pastor had called me when I hinted at this subject. And the thing that annoyed me was that the pastor was discouraging me from making the video. Yes, leadership, BBL gone wrong. They're out here, they just make interracial. They make stupid. It's stupid conversations. We were watching videos with Tamara yesterday. We were laughing. We were laughing about why is people getting married to foreigners even a thing? Why is it even a thing? South African married to a Nigerian. Why is that a thing? You're marrying a brother in the faith. Why is it even a thing? Why is it like, you get me? But it's because we allow conversations in the world to dictate what we talk about. We are allowing people to dictate. That's why they are scared. The moment you say sex, yeah, they shut down. Batima, brother, Watima. Guys, I wish I could show you the conversation that I had with that guy. It was sad, and so I talked to him. I think the only time he actually, the day I spoke to him, he didn't want. But then he called me the next day and he revived the conversation when he was at work with his friends. And his friend was a bit of an older person to him. And his friend tapped him on the shoulder and said, listen to that guy. And he left him like that. And he said the things that he's saying, only to find that he had no idea. And so on the subject of sex, bedroom marriage and whatnot and all these things, have the conversations. Know what. You have all these people, all these, like for instance, you have all these unmarried women or some of these people that are just out there brushing the subject like it's nonsense. Like this Nigerian women that say that they went to heaven, Sister Kate or whatever her name is. Every single video she makes around sex, it's wickedness. No, you are not supposed to do this in marriage. You are not supposed to do. Who are you? Are you even married? No, she's not. God came all the way just to communicate to her what bedroom things people should not do. And then you have people like Carrie Ann, whatnot. She will be there discussing, that woman is weird. She'll be there discussing all these weird things. It's because we are letting the world dictate. The world is dictating what conversations the church should have about this subject. That's why lukewarm people like Mpoomy and her husband, they go to the world to satisfy that that affirmation, to be affirmed in the world. Like I said, I can't sit down in a club and listen to some of this Christian house music in a club, because when they are singing about Yahweh in the club, they don't mean the Yahweh that I'm talking about. So at least I deprive that brother in the club of the truth of who Yahweh is. I can't sing with them. The same way, I can't have a conversation about sex in an ungodly place like that. Leadership, they steal the conversation from us. And so at the end of the day, guys, if there was one thing that I wanted us to highlight on, we don't need the world to have that conversation. And also, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a video. I made 2 videos about this subject. Okay? Sometimes I might restrict myself on how far I talk here. Even in those videos, I was trying to be discreet and what. And hey, It was a headache. And then there was another video. There was another video, church reality size. Lindica. Let me see if this video pops up. Okay, I think. If you don't know what we are talking about, okay, there's a video called Does Size Matter? Hey, just go check on the channel. Yeah, just go check on the channel, you'll find it. It's called Does Size Matter? That video also does go into other depths of explaining the same subject. Some people were born in church. Some people were born in church. They don't know these things. That's why in those two videos that I made, I was explaining that to say a woman is unhappy in her bedroom affairs, and she's busy talking to her friends. And if you remember that video, I said, if you have a friend like that who is talking to you about she's unhappy, her husband is like this, tell that woman, shut up, go tell your husband that. Because the more you are out here talking about it, it's not solving that man probably doesn't know. To him, getting to a place of satisfaction is very easy. He doesn't need to be taught anything. But a woman's body a man has to be taught. Now I told you, I had a friend who was a sexologist person, those things. And one of my friends was going to fetch movies. I explained it, how it came about in that video. And we got there, and this brother said, you are fetching these movies. Okay, also fetch this ones. He had sex education videos and stuff. And I was like, no. I had just newly been born again. I was back in 2011, 2010. I said, no. I'm a Christian. Don't do. The brother said, you see, you're the reason why you are going with these things. And he gave us a 3-hour lecture. So if you wanted to know, like, Ricky, how did you come to, that's how I came into knowing that. He said, you are the reason why I want you to hear this. Because you get married, you will frustrate your wife. And he went into a lecture, that guy. Lecture for like 3 hours straight. And he says a woman is like this, if a woman is like this. And I was like, what? And so the subject, when you say the subject of does size matter, I don't have that question now. I don't. Because what he was explaining broke down how a woman's body is made. So because I know that the subject is foolish. The subject is heard by amateurs who don't understand how God made the woman's body. With us, he was done. But when he made the body of a woman, it took time. And so because this brother just started talking about the woman's body is like this subject doesn't matter. It's stupid. It's childish. It's not even, we don't know why people even have this. But guess what? Because the church is quiet on that subject, and it has allowed the world to dictate what the subject sounds like, we don't have a version. There is no version of sex conversation for church. So you have two extreme people. You have two extremes. People that don't want to even hear it. And then you have people that, guys, I spoke to a friend of mine. I wish I could call him. Let me just check if he's on, if I will find it. I'll let him, because sometimes, you say I spoke to someone, people might feel like you are joking, or you are lying, or you are making it up. Let me see if I'll find him. He's married. Let me see if I'll find him. Yeah, it's not available. No, it's fine. But this brotherhood, let me send him a message. All right. So he has a friend. We were mutual. We had a mutual friend between me and him, and this mutual friend got divorced because this was an aspect in the relationship. The man was out there cheating. He was doing all kinds of things, and she forgave him, whatnot, and everything. But the thing that made her say, okay, these other areas we have weakness, but when it comes to this subject, also we have weakness. The woman said it's enough now. And guess what that was? The brother was busy doing all kinds of shenanigans out there. And when it came to household matters, the brotherhood was irresponsive. Why? You don't communicate these things in the house. And so the worst thing that could happen to you is to go outside and then you find a woman that communicates that well. That's your worst nightmare as a cheater. That's your worst nightmare. Even if you're a woman, the worst nightmare that could ever happen to you is to go outside and then you meet someone who does something that you're like, wait a minute, what was that? Little did you know that same thing, if you had known how to communicate to your husband, you would have never crossed that boundary. But you crossed because you didn't know what you were crossing to. And so you meet some of these charlatans out there. That's what they are. You meet some of these charlatans who have all kinds of head knowledge and they dazzle you. And so you meet some of these people out there and you feel like, no, this person is doing for you what your husband cannot do, or you made a mistake. If only you had known that there's no special skill that person did. It's just that you couldn't communicate that message to your significant other. That's why you heard me saying, if you have a friend out there who is just out there blabbing her mouth, you have a friend at work who's always there busy, oh, my husband is doing this. When you see this disrespectful personality in a person at work where they're just talking about their husband as if it's nothing, this is the area where they've been crossed, right here. And they feel, no, my husband, that one. What person talks about their husband like that? It's because there's this area where she's not able to communicate. That person, you pull them to the side, you say, my sister, you're not doing yourself any service by coming here and telling us about it. Communicate to your husband what he must do. Your husband doesn't know. Stop frustrating us with stress of whatnot. And these things break up families. They break up relationships and whatnot. We are stopping at 2 hours. They break up families. People literally leave marriages because they feel like the bedroom has become the peak area. And yes, it will dictate whether. And guess what? It's not even supposed to. Because we are keeping quiet. We die in silence. We keep quiet and we pretend as if the conversation is not there when we know very well. That just like that friend of mine. Recently married, he felt like, no. My man, I'm fine with this subject. I'm recently got married. I said, my brother, knowledge is knowledge. It has nothing to do with what you're saying. As far as when we come to the subject, we become big-headed. We feel like sex, the conversation of sex is carnal. Yes, but you have a physical body that's still bound down here. Paul felt it important to instruct. Do not neglect your physical responsibilities to the significant other. But I don't need to have that conversation on television being put in night dresses. That conversation can be had in the right setting. But why do they feel that they have to have that conversation in a worldly place? And then again, you have another thing that I absolutely dislike about this thing. You have kids talking things that they know nothing about. That part pisses me off. All these kids that have just gone out there, they sleep with some Nigerian guy there. All the small kids. They sleep with one brotherhood from, the northern countries there. And they come out here, hey, what, and they come here out here insulting everybody about what? South African men are like this. This type of men. No, you are a baby, a child, and you don't know nothing about what you're talking about. And that's the thing that mostly it pisses me off the most. Is because we are not vocal about not having people dictate the conversation. The world has taken it on. Now you have kids dictating what the subject of sex, even in marriage, sounds like. You hear a person saying, I'm not satisfied at home. How? Can you communicate back, go back home, communicate that matter? Let it be a conversation between the two of you. So those 2 videos that I made, they were literally addressing that. And I addressed it on a very light note so that people will remove these walls of communication. Your brother, the husband is not reaching. Okay, communicate how he gets there. There are blogs you can read about that. Visit a sexologist doctor or something like that. Yeah, because there are certain areas in church. I don't even think you're going to have that conversation. We can have that conversation here on YouTube where we watch anonymously. But the church is quiet, silent. The only people that has the right communication about subjects, they are in hiding. They are busy. You spend time, because you see, because we've made ourselves get used of not communicating words. You don't know how to communicate in an area which involves the most intimate aspects of the conversation. Do I have to start praying before I can communicate what I... Okay, we are going to talk about sex. Okay, Father, help us, guide our mouth. But that's what it feels like amongst church people. That's what it feels like amongst church people. The moment you open your mouth and say, "Sir," they think you are being carnal. And you're like, brother, you are in the body. That's why the sin of sex is the one sin that you don't pray about. You run from. You run from. The Bible says run. You run the opposite direction. Because that one has no prayer. That one your body responds to. That's why it's the one sin where the Bible actually says, this one, you sin against yourself. Hey. So we've allowed people in the world to communicate for us what the right thing is. And what are they talking? Oh, size matters. What? The brother can't even satisfy me in bed. You listen to comedy videos, whatnot, all these discussions on blogs and what. It's them just talking about it. There's an entire show. Daily Sun has a literal podcast where they just talk about sex. And Mjolo. That's all they talk about. But you listen to it, it's worldly perspectives on this subject. As I stated, you believe size matters in thinking, you are worldly. You've been taught wrong. You learn from the wrong sources. You learn from the world. You learn from the world where having a bigger car is better than having a car at all. You are driving a Toyota. Yeah, you see, you learn from the world. God, you think God would make us like that? Do you think, like, when you're sitting down and you're thinking, do you think God would make us like that? No, He doesn't. Like I said there are 3 to 4 areas of orgasm for a woman, for her to find her place of joy. If you are a man and you don't know those, and you are married, go Google them. Go Google them. You'll frustrate your wife, because your wife might also not know how to communicate it. Now we must tell you here. You'll think we are being rebellious. We're not being rebellious. We are reminding you, you don't know. Basalani, the pastor that called me, old man, 50-something years old, didn't know. I asked him, can you tell me, if you were to talk about the 4 areas of orgasm for a woman, and get rid of the man, it's very easy to go to subjects. But for the woman, can you communicate those for me? He didn't know. He didn't know. Please go Google what they are. Go Google what they are. Because you make me look like I'm a madman. Because you make me look like I'm a madman. Look, I'm talking about something that's not even there. I think he says, singing Yahweh in a secular setting, or how does it compare to the preaching that the Israelites missed an opportunity to portray the greatness of God and refusing to sing the Lord's song in a strange land? No, I said preference-wise, I cannot sing the song Yahweh in a club. That's the setting that I was putting the song in. I can't sing that song in a club. I'm not going to a club where they are singing that song, because the God they are talking about and the Yahweh that I'm talking about, I know him. They don't. So at least I deprive them of that experience or knowing him. I'm not going to sing it with them. That's what I meant about that. Yeah, Jub doesn't play. Jub finds everyone. How evil is for a Nyati enema Makwapin killing a man for giving leadership. The man wanted to go back, and she refused. She refused, and she poisoned the man. That story, it hit home. Leadership. That was a very good man, but he got beside himself because of what he didn't know. The very same thing that I'm talking about. He got to this woman, and she knew how to behave or how to hold him during sex. So in a way that he didn't know. And so what it did, it made him look like, no, she loves me more. Such a foolish thing. These things can be communicated. Okay? It's not that this woman loves you more. No, you just haven't communicated to your significant other what thingy. Having a desire, I feel like it's one of the worst things. You have a certain desire, and you allow another person outside to fulfill that. Aibo, please, Basalani, please. Yes, communication is one of the most important keys in a marriage home. Yeah. And you don't just talk about washing plates. Who's washing the plates today? No, there's all these other areas of communication. And then you leave those other areas. Those are the ones that mostly bring disrepute. And even if you go to the areas where other people now try to tempt your husband into thinking, it's because you communicated to them the vulnerabilities of your partner. So now they use that information going towards them because they know how to act in that space. Now, because that one also might also be vulnerable in that space where they feel like, yeah, this person does. You know what? Just communicating it deals with it. Okay? You're not happy. You feel like unaka 5 minutes. Did you communicate the 5 minutes thing? Do you know, guys, so important. Do you know, did you communicate about that? You didn't. Or you're just going to go out, then you are grumpy the whole day. You're not fulfilling your marital duties. You didn't say. You didn't say. So you find that your significant other partner has a very low sex drive. If they did once in a week, they are fine. But you didn't communicate yours. And then you expect them to know. They probably think that once in that week or that once in the month, they think that's fine. But then you just let it be, just let it hang. Please communicate those things. What do you think the communication is all about? It extends into all those other areas. Yes, the church is silent on the subject of sex while it's the one thing that, hey, in leadership, the thing is, the sad part is, you'll have people that are the least knowing, and you try to communicate to them the importance of the right understanding about the subject, and they just dismiss it. There was nothing as heartbreaking as that friend of mine saying, no, Ricky, me, I'm married, Pella. And I said, so what? That was a very sad moment for me, because I knew he didn't know a thing. Until he called me the other day, he wanted to argue, and he called me in front of his friend. And he said something that was silly, and I corrected him, and the friend stood up and said, my brother, listen to him. That was the only time he was willing to listen to me. But that I was, he said, I'm going to make a video, I'll send you the video. Then he called me, now wanting thing. So we've left the subject for too long, and now it's been handled by people who have so many lusts. They have just so many lusts. They are confused by the amount of demons they have. They're just confused by all these things. And so they dictate to the rest of the generation what this subject is like. I mean, like, there's an entire book where it actually just goes into depth about what is it? Is it it's not Ecclesiastic. I think it's Songs of Solomon, where it goes in detail. But then a person will listen to a church person speaking about it, and they say, "How? Why?" They've allowed the world to be the one that has that conversation. And so, yeah, guys, I think for me, I think Christians should take the place and have that conversation so that people can hear the right context or the right framing for these conversations, but not in a worldly platform where people are going to be portrayed in a bedroom. You have to wear pajamas on TV just to communicate about things that I don't need a TV. I don't need a thingy. I can sit right here and communicate. I don't need to wear a night dress. A night dress doesn't extend the subject. And so and also I had some people there talking about, what turns you on and whatnot. Like, why would you even talk about that on TV? Like, the moment you start saying that, you're opening a door for somebody else that might to know, oh, okay, so it's that, okay. So they come to you exactly on that tone. You create loopholes in areas where you should think. But anyways, let everybody decide what they want to do for themselves. Personally, I think people need to understand. Some people, I think, whenever they think about the subject, they think about that's why when you bring the subject of dating in church, they always think something else. They think the extreme. They think, people are moving in with each other without getting married. That's what they think. Why? Your mind is polluted. Yeah, because the moment we mention the subject, you're always thinking the negative. You don't think about the right way of Christian dating. And then you have like the girl that we did where she was saying Bushiri is in the Bible and stuff. Yeah, and you watch videos about dating, and she's there. Dating is a scam. So those are the Christians that people are saying. Dating is a scam. It's always worldly. If your approach towards it was worldly, you term the entire thing as worldly. And then you have some of these pastors who were born in church. They have no experience of the world. They have no framing of having gone out and met someone in a restaurant or something like that, which is where you might have met your wife. They have no framework around that of meeting a person. They met a person while they were in prayer group. Yeah, but there are people that are out here meeting people outside of that setting. So they feel like the word dating has been polluted because they're always thinking, yeah, someone may have to meet people outside of prayer groups. So everything to them, you say dating, they think worldly. They always assume the worst. You oppose your ideas on us. So the right framing is needed in all the subjects. Like you say sex, they think otherwise. They think pornography. That's most of them. You say dating, they think sex. And so you wonder, like, so this person thinks, how do we get married? How do we end up married? They don't have the right framing. You see, must come into courtship. What does that mean? It means dating. At the end of the day, that's what it means. It's dating, but I'm introducing people to people. There's nobody that's hidden. Hello, mommy, this is so and so. Hello, is so and so. This is my sister and everybody. But they have termed it. So you see, the church has allowed the world to take over these conversations on all planes. To a point now, we are now dependent on them having the conversation. Then we can go over there and have the talk. So that's the thing that I wanted us to talk about just a little bit for 2 hours. All right, guys, I think we can let that one rest. And so, is there any other thing that you guys want to ask about or anything that you want us to discuss? Maybe let's give it 20 minutes. Yeah, so we can allow the world to continue dictating on all subjects. And then again, we have extremists taking over every single subject. They just go extreme. You think the moment you say I'm saved by grace, they say, oh, so you are saying that you don't have to do anything. They always think their mind is too corrupt to think pure. The moment you say, no, tomorrow I'm not going to church tomorrow, they will accuse you of something. What, are you going to the beer hall? Or were you in a club? Why? That's the only thing they can think of. They only think negative about everything. And so the world has dictated all these subjects, all of them. And then you have these brotherhoods who, born in church, probably they were the pastor or the deacon's child or something like that. So they grew up in church. At the end of the day, they become part of the leadership in church and they become pastor. They have no experience outside of church. And these people become legalistic. Most people that grew up in church, legalistic. They go legalistic route. And they are very judgmental. Those ones. They are very judgmental. They are very judgmental. The first thing that they think about, if you are doing wrong, something you must be doing wrong somewhere. They are the ones. Hello, are you coming to church? Are you coming to prayer meeting? You say no. It must be something. Unlearn. Okay, like I said, the first things that I actually had to do when I was now coming back into apologetics, I realized that my first channel was too. I didn't see any sight of salvation for any of the people that I spoke about, and it made me very negative towards everything. And so I started watching a lot of documentaries between the period of 2012 to 2014. I watched all kinds of documentaries. I watched documentaries on Obama, whatnot. They used to say Obama is the devil, is what? His eyes shifted, all of those things. Those things, they pollute your mind. So now you can't think of presenting the gospel to someone when you're thinking that. If you're thinking this person is the devil, that's it, is done. So me, I can come here and talk about Bushiri and laugh. I say, this one is a charlatan. I can laugh because I have an interest to reach the person that I'm talking about. I have an interest in reaching the person. Please quickly summarize for that TV show Pastors is looking for leadership. That one is a show of the devil, that one. Did I tell you guys that the pastor that I spoke about, there was a pastor I spoke about, he was very angry. Yeah, we have a mutual friend. We have a mutual friend, and I found out the brotherhood was very angry. And I'm like, oh, how can he be angry about something that I said, which was very biblical? The brother was there busy working romantically with everybody. Was busy presenting gifts and doing what? Pretending that he wants to ask this one out, and then busy asking this other one. And so it was just a whole lot of noise. So we made a video and we said, hey, the brother is carnal. The brother can't be a pastor. He's not in a position to do that. He was very angry and he sent a message through this man. I said, it's fine. If he wants to answer, he can come to the channel. I know he wants to talk to you privately. I say, I have no private conversation. He can talk to me public. I talk to him public. He can talk to me public. And so that show, the problem is they are taking a worldly concept again. They're taking a worldly concept of the women all come wanting to date one man. And now these women are under pressure to present the best them. And the pastor is just there busy, just looking. Yeah, that's a wicked thing. That's a wicked television show. There's no a brother who has a conviction of the Holy Spirit who will be sitting there busy judging these women, trying to make the best presentation to him and think that is right. And sometimes we'll be kissing some of them if I'm wrong, if I'm right. That show is just ungodly, man. And to them, it's fine. Worldly standards. And so that show for me, that is a worldly show. Unfortunately, Christian keep going back there. I wonder if they're shooting another season now. Okay, 7 minutes. I said 15 minutes ago. I said 15 or 20. Yeah. And then we can go home. We can let the subject rest. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I think we're not saying people should just have their guard down, but we are saying at the same time, let people be aware of the conversation. A lot of people are very rigid. They believe, or they've been made to believe, that they have a final answer about this subject. They think, okay, I'm thinking godly, I'm thinking, yeah, and then they forget that they have a physical body in this physical earth. The Bible instructs the body. The Bible instructs the body. And so the ignorance towards the body is a very sad thing. And also, it's much like the subject of the place of the Holy Spirit when we're talking about the earlier video that we made of the prophecy of Bushiri and stuff like that. If you think about it, the subject says the prophet has a word for you, and therefore if you don't do this, you will not have progress. You are very much dependent on what the prophet says, basically. So they make this presentation for so long, to a point where now, in this day and age, we have now come to a place where the people have replaced the place of the Holy Spirit for their spiritual father. That's what it does. Because it removes the Holy Spirit from being the guide. The Bible says the law was the student master. So it was meant to instruct us in these areas. And then once we are instructed in these areas, we now know what it's like being under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. But now they've stolen that from us, because now I can pay 1,000 rands and do a consultation with the prophet and hear what God is saying. God is saying something, right? I mean, like, God can't just be there quiet, right? Never mind that there was 400 years when God said nothing. After the Old Testament's closing into the New Testament, there was 400 years gap of no prophet saying anything for 400 years. And so, but anyways, so people come into that place where they want God is saying something today. God is saying something today. God. And before you know it, they don't realize they have removed the place of the Holy Spirit. He says, I go so that I may send him, the Holy Spirit. He will guide you into all truths. That's the place of the Holy Spirit. But people have replaced it with whatever. Consulting for a one-on-one or whatever. People have removed the Holy Spirit, the purpose of the Holy Spirit. There's no need to eagerly pray about a matter. I can just take out 1,000 and know what God is saying. So it has created all these walls. And in the process of creating these walls, what has happened is that these same people then dictate what we should talk about. And they themselves are very worldly. And as a result, when you're outside of the church, they dictate the subject a certain way. When you come into the church, they dictate their own subject a certain way. Doesn't help. But anyways, what can we say? Let everybody do as they please. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go. We're going to call it an evening. I'm going to call it off from here. He that is without sin, let him cast the first stone. Yeah, they're very judgmental, those ones. They're very judgmental, especially the ones that grew up in church, who have never experienced anything in the world. They become very judgmental. And they take up positions in church and stuff, and they make all kinds of conclusions at the back of their mind about everybody. Like if you were to say, oh, we are going for evangelism, they'll say, no, we are organizing a prayer meeting. So they feel like them praying is more effective than you going to evangelize. I used to have this brotherhood in that church that I told you about earlier on that I used to go to. There was this brotherhood who used to say, Ricky, you read so much. If you were to spend half of that time praying, your life would be different. So I couldn't help but laugh because he thought that him praying is doing things for him. I don't know, maybe other people, I know other people might think that or believe like that. That's not what I believe. Okay, it's not what I believe. I believe my prayer is supplication. I'm making supplication. So I'm submitting a request. If there's anything that is at odds, whether I'm praying for rest, whether I'm praying for healing, or I'm making supplication. But he believed that the moment he prays, God must do something. So it wasn't communication. It wasn't him talking to God. It wasn't time with God. To him, it was a way of him getting things done in his life. So once he has prayed, God is going to do something. So he's a very result-based type of a person. And you are setting yourself up for failure when you set up a relationship with God on those bases, where God must perform. But I don't think he was hearing himself. He thought it was better. I said to him, I'm best praying 15 minutes and spending 3 hours reading. Because then that 15 minutes is very much effective. But if you want to pray for 3 hours and read 2 minutes, it's okay. A video that teaches or the video about the woman body. Leadership, just go to the channel and say, let me see. Yes. Okay. Hmm. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I think there was 2 videos. So all right, so that's the video right there, up at the top, right here. And I think if you open the video there, if you open the video, did I put it in the pinned comment? There's a second video to it. Yeah, there's a second video. I think it was called Does Size Matter? Something like that. I think that was the video. Yeah. So there's this one. Unless I change the name, I don't know. Come on. Yeah, don't worry. I'll put it in the. I'll put it in the pinned comments when we're done here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it that way. I'll put those videos in the pinned comments so you can see them. Yeah, I'll remember and put it down there when we're done here. Where's the snake translated video? Hey, that video is taking too long, leadership. It's an hour long. You know, doing translation for an hour's video, it's no joke. And so I'll have it done. And also remember, it's going to be 2 different episodes, 2 different videos. So there's 2 hours worth of work. That takes a lot. So if already there's the daily videos, yes, tomorrow is Sunday. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time to work on it, but it will definitely come out. Leadership, what is your take on the BBL and surgery deep in plastic? What's a BBL again? Oh, you mean the ones that do? Hi. I don't know, leadership. I don't know. I think it's more of a woman's subject. Yeah, it's more of a woman's subject. Some people, they have their reasons for doing it. Some, they do them because of quick fix, and all that. Especially the younger ones, they do it for quick fix. Yeah, but it's a very much women-based type of a subject. And so yeah. All right, guys, I think we can call it off. Yeah, guys, in closing, I can just say church people need to be very much aware of what comes into that conversation, and so that we don't have to have the world dictating the subjects to us. We don't have to have the world dictating the subject of sex in marriage and whatnot. We don't need the world to dictate that, and we don't have to be belittled at the same time about those subjects. You hear the world saying, oh, these funny, weird subjects, and you start thinking, are they being real? Most of them, they don't know what they're talking about. Most of them, it's childish talk. It's a lot of childish talk. So those videos that video that I highlighted, go check it out, and I'll put those 2 videos down in the pinned comments when we're done with this one, so you can go and watch it. Be educated about the subject. Don't be ignorant about it. And also understand you're a married person. or you're going to get married, understand that your other partner might not know. So getting them in communication about that subject, it will help build you, the two of you. Okay. And some people, even if you try to start the conversation, they are completely shut off. Some have had terrible experiences, so they are very much afraid of the subject. Some have been traumatized about the subject. Some are shy, but it's not that they are shy to have the conversation. It's just they would rather not have the conversation with you. And so, yeah, be willing to reach them particularly. Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to actually get people talking in that area. You know, you might meet me in person and I won't talk to you in person about it, especially if you are a woman, right? Yeah, let's just imagine me in a setting where I'm talking to women or to a woman about, no, just not the right setting. And so, but I can talk to you here, right? And then you go do your further research and stuff. And when you get into that marriage, make it the best thing you could. Don't listen to people that know nothing about what they're talking about, that are dictating. Guys, I kid you not, there are people who were married for years and they divorced because of these same issues that they didn't know that they could have fixed. It didn't have to, because even if there's other issues, if this comes into the relationship, it breaks things completely. Because people define themselves by that, either by the confidence of their partner or whatnot. You start hearing people, and also remember that thing that we were saying. You hear a person who becomes disrespectful towards their partner or talk about their partner very loosely, pull them aside and say, my brother, communicate these things with your wife or with instead of coming here and telling us about it, because it does nothing for your relationship. You are helping build that person. Some of them, they talk about it because they don't know how to vent it. And they've talked about everything so much that they don't even know the difference, especially women. Hey, they will rant about the, like, especially if you go to Kokasi or in the neighborhood. You'll just hear them talking over the fence. My husband. That one. Or when they are in at the shop. Maybe the husband is known to be a man who just drinks all the time or something like that. They'll be there increasing the narrative of the negativity towards the husband. Can you uphold? That's why the Bible, when it talks about the proverbial woman, it said her husband's name is known at the gate because of her. So meaning she doesn't allow that negativity to go about. She puts it straight. My husband and I, we are in order. Yeah. She's not out there busy laundering information into the public space. Especially women. Okay? If you have friends, okay, because they're likely to talk to you. Okay? They're not likely to talk to me. They're likely to talk to you. And as a matter of fact, they shouldn't likely talk to me. Me, I talk to you out in public here. This doesn't go into the private chats. No, please. No, please. Me, as far as I can talk to you, it's here in the public. Can't talk to you in the private. No. But they are likely to talk to you as a friend. Communicate to them. Not to put out that information thing. Teach them, your husband doesn't know. Tell him exactly what you are saying he must do. Anyways, it's tricky. And I will see you on a later on. This conversation, I hope this conversation was fruitful, even though it was very, very restrained, and we were trying to be, you understand, PG-13. We're trying to be PG-13 about it, but we hope we were able to communicate people are destroying their marriages. Because you know the thing about this is this. I mentioned this in the video, okay? And you saw when I made that video 9 months ago. I can still tell you what's in the video. The moment they say it to you, they feel like they've said it to the husband. There is something about communication satisfaction. I forgot what they call it. Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna call it. Communication satisfaction. Is that, which is why they say when you are planning to do something, don't tell people. Because if you tell them, what ends up happening is that you end up not doing it because you get satisfaction from telling people. So you never go through with it. You feel like you've done it, or you feel like you've done something about it. And so when they're communicating to you, my husband is doing what, my husband is being. You understand? When they're saying those things, they get satisfied telling you. And it feels like they've told him. And that's what creates the illusion. Over time, you have this illusion that he knows. Kanti, you haven't told them. Yeah, the mind of a human being is very weird. It's a very weird place. You can say something so long. To a point where you believe you've communicated this thing, this thought. And so that's the reason why you hear me saying, if your friend comes to you and says this, tell them to go tell them. Because the mind satisfies itself. The person feels like my partner knows. And they don't realize it doesn't build the relationship because they're telling you this. Because it only leaves the holes open. Or you just send them the videos, basically. All right, guys. It's Ricky. It doesn't do anything for them. You know? It doesn't do anything for them. But of course, they don't know any better. They react. They feel like, no, the man must just know. Know what? The same way you don't know, he probably doesn't know. So you feel out of place? Know how to sort it out before you go outside and find things that you should not be encountering. All right, guys. It's Ricky. We don't need to have those conversations in the world. We can have those conversations in the right setting. Yeah, I'll be good. And I will see you on next week's episode on the live stream. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. A bunch of weirdos leadership. Shalom, shalom. Blessings of the Most High. And love from Switzerland. You're in Switzerland leadership. You are in the Swazi. Okay, it's asking a question here. Leadership, what is the difference between equality, transgression, and transparency? Leadership, that's too much English for me. What is the difference between equality, transgression, and transparency? It depends on the subject, basically. Because a person can say iniquity, between iniquity, transgression, and trespasses. Oh, you mean thingy? Oh, okay. They practically come to the same subject, but you can actually pick them up in their own individual tones. But it comes to the same. But we can break it down on a different discussion, leadership. Yeah. But it comes to the same. All it is breaking God's standard. You're breaking God's standard. It might be in different areas. You know? Yeah, but we can discuss that one on a different discussion. All right, guys. I will see you later. Y'all be blessed. Danke, and y'all be blessed.